Hello.
Hello
Hey, guys.
again.
Hey, Kelly. How are you? Hey, Stephen.
Good.
Um, I'm excited, everybody, to kick off this section, which is going to be about the fan engagement and the unique fan experience. I think we have a tremendous number of cool things planned, and I'm really glad to be welcomed by Kelly Barnhill, who's one of the outstanding players who's going to be playing in Athletes Unlimited. Incredibly accomplished player at the college level and pro level, and Stephen Repass from Ross Mobile Productions, who's actually going to be putting together the productions that you're going to see on CBS Sports and ESPN. And Stephen's going to take you through some of the innovations. I think some of the really cool technologies that we're using here that you're going to really enjoy. So I'm going to start. I'm going to share some materials, and then I'm going to kick it over. I'm going to bring in Kelly, and I'm going to bring in Stephen as we go here. Can everyone see my screen? Kelly and you guys, can you see it? Perfect. Yep. All right, good. If anybody wants to just maximize, if you want to see the presentation, and you just double click on it and it'll expand. So again, this session's about the Athlete Unlimited fan experience. Ultimately, there are a lot of innovations around the athletes and the athlete-led aspects of Athletes Unlimited. But really, what the core of this is about thinking about where fandom is heading. And I think I speak for hopefully a lot of you that are on this call, that, sports, I've grown up, I love sports, I love traditional sports, but I think that there is a lot that's changing in the world around us, that's changing a lot with sports. And we've called that the age of the fluid fan. This is a phrase that was invented by the Sports Innovation Lab, Josh Walker, Angela Ruggiero, who helped us really in the earliest days. As I said, Angela is a member of our board of advisors, a 4-time Olympian, and they coined this phrase, age of the fluid fan. And what it talks about is how fandom is changing. And I think one of the biggest elements of that, and Kelly, I'm going to probably kick it to you pretty quickly here, which is, we do see that a lot of fans are following players more so than they're following teams or leagues. And I always like the statistic that there are fans who've really been following you, Kelly, in your career. I'd love to maybe hear about some of that. How do you see that working, and how do you think about kind of the relationship you've had with fans across the different teams you've played for? I'm curious, how many teams do you think you've played for throughout your career, Kelly, both in college and professionally?
I've only played, I guess, for 4 teams. I've played for the Gators. I've played for Team USA. Well, actually, I played for Team Victoria in Australia. I played for the Xingli Wang Lions in Taiwan, and I played for the Bandits, and now I'm playing for Athletes Unlimited. But I think you definitely see like the fluidity of the fans, especially while you were in college. I'd get a lot of people come up to me as like, "Oh my gosh, like you're my favorite pitcher. We don't like the Gators, but we like you." So it was a lot more of like people coming up and talking to you individual more about than the school. Of course, there are people who support the school no matter what, and all the people that come through there. But you see a lot more people going to their individual players and saying, "Oh, I want to be like you. I don't want to be a Gator, but I want to be the best pitcher I can be, or I want to be the best batter. Whatever position to that player that they look up to."
So, so some of that was really that inspiration behind what we did here. One of the things, and I don't know if Savannah is joining us. Savannah, are you here now with us as well? You there? I don't know if Savannah is joining us, but I wanted to introduce today Savannah Collins. She's been live tweeting and responding to some of your questions in the chat. But we've actually brought on board Savannah Collins as our fan engagement manager. So throughout the season, you'll be hearing from Savannah. As a fan and you want to follow, please reach out to her. She's the person you'll be hearing. She'll be creating a lot of content, and she'll really be the voice of the fans of Athletes Unlimited. We thought this was an incredibly important role to fill early on, and so we're really glad that Savannah, somebody who has experience in softball world, has joined us. The second thing I want to talk about is our Unlimited Club. So fans won't be able to attend in person, but we've gone to real lengths to create a club, the Unlimited Club, where you can sign on for the course of the year, and it will give you unique access to the players and to Athletes Unlimited. So some of the core things, when all the players come off the field at the end of a game, they're going to vote on who they think the MVP of the game is, and their votes are going to be tallied, and that's going to contribute to their ultimate score total. But the Unlimited Club fan members are also going to be able to vote, and all those votes will add up to one additional vote for the player of the game. Also on the Unlimited Club, and you can see it here, we're going to have cameras in the dugout. We're also going to be miking up players, but these cameras in the dugout, it'll be set up, as you can see, where your faces will be on the screen. and you'll be able to interact with the players. I'd love to know, Kelly, what you think about that. Have you thought about what it might be like when players get to converse with you during the middle of a game?
Well, I'm just going to say that cameras in the dugout can be a little bit dangerous. I've definitely had some experiences where, I think there's a different player on the field than there is in the dugout. On the field, players tend to be a little bit more serious, a little bit more focused. But when you get in the dugout, it's more about, cheering on your teammates, doing the stupid things that we do, rally caps, cheers, whatever it ends up being, But you catch a lot of interesting moments. You get to really kind of see the athlete's personality even more. Like for me personally, I know that there's a video of me College World Series, and I just gotten off the field pitching. I was getting some water, and because we had a hamster in the dugout. That's a whole different story that year, but we had a hamster in the dugout, and he was sitting on the water coolers, and there's a video of me kind of being like, where is he?
Well, It's going to be, I think, a great, benefit for unlimited club membership. So I'm going to turn now to our content. So you're going to be able to watch the games on CBS Sports Network and ESPN, but there's so much good original content on our website, on our YouTube channel, across our platforms. There are a number of series that we've developed and produced ourselves. There's a great podcast if you have a chance and you want to go and download if you're a podcast fan, Hard Headed, which is hosted by AJ Andrews and has a number of players coming on and being interviewed about how they've accomplished what they've accomplished on the field. So a tremendous amount of original content. We're also developed, and I'm proud to share with you that we're going to have a pick'em game. So you will be able to, again, go to our website. You'll download this game onto your phone. And this is really a pick'em game where you predict what's going to happen each play of the game, and you get points if you're right. So if you predict the batter is going to get a single, you'll get points added to your score, and we're going to award 2 winners per game. They're going to be great prizes. And then finally, our first pitch program. We're so excited that each one of the 30 games will have a great leader, a pioneer, a leader in the field of sports and entertainment, giving a virtual first pitch. So Billie Jean King and Natalie Portman are on board, Amy Robach from Good Morning America. And we're really, really excited to welcome Mabel Blair. Mabel is a 93-year-old pitcher. She participated in the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League that many of us know from a league of their own. And there are many, many more leaders who have joined on. So each game, you'll want to tune in across our channels to see who's going to be throwing out the first pitch for that game. And here's a little look. You can see some behind me, but this is really what the transformation is of the Rosemont facility, a Parkway Bank Sports Complex. It's an incredible facility to begin with. It's the only dedicated professional softball field in the country for pros, and we're just so excited to be here and to be transforming what it looks like and what it feels like. And so that's what it's going to be here in person in Rosemont. And I'm now really excited to turn it over to Stephen, tell you a little bit more about what's going on and how we're going to be bringing some really unique technologies and to the broadcast. And Stephen, I'll hand it over to you.
Sure. Hopefully you can see my screen here. So yeah, I'll give you a little sneak peek. I'm not going to show a lot, but I think some of the examples that we're going to show with the graphics that we have and how we're going to be able to enhance the broadcast is really cool. First, let's talk about, well, what type of camera position you're going to have. So if you look at all these yellow boxes, it's a lot of camera feeds. So we're going to have 14 dedicated camera feeds. As Jon talked a little bit about, we're going to have them in the dugout. And we're going to have players mic'd up. We're going to have an umpire mic'd up. We're going to have headsets in the dugout. So there's going to be a lot of action, a lot of different views that we're going to be able to get from this coverage that we have right now. And like, if you look at camera 10, we're going to have a foul pole camera out there. So that's going to be kind of cool. So you just tell there's a lot going on here, and there's going to be a lot that we're going to do in the broadcast. So we'll be able to get all the coverage here. So kind of going through some of the cool stuff is what Ross has is Puro Sports Graphics. And this is all going to be new for softball. This has never been done on college or in professional softball or softball in general. So kind of give you some examples of what we're going to be doing is you're going to see we're going to do flow charts. So these shows you the percentage of batters throughout their college career and their professional career. So this is data that we collected with the support of Athletes Unlimited, and we're going to show this during the broadcast. So some pretty cool stuff. Another example here is With Puro, you can tell they do calculations to see how fast the runner's going, and you can see the colors are changing as they slow down and as they speed up. So those are things that we're going to be able to show during the broadcast. It will be a lot of fun. Just kind of another example here. Let's see what we have here. So this is what we call the fireworks. So it shows you where your hits are throughout the season or the week or however we want to break it down. It shows you how far the ball went to. So just another cool example that we're going to do in the broadcast. Oh, and this one is, so we have to find unique ways to talk about the rankings and to talk about point system and what's going on. So Pierre is going to help tell that story and help the talent through the broadcast. So we have some really cool graphics that we're going to show during the broadcast to show you where they are in the ranking system. We have this brand new API system that will be able to show you where they are in the ranking, how many points do they have to get to the next spot. So some really cool graphics that we're going to do there. Let's see another example. So this is a strike zone. So we're going to include this into the broadcast too. So another cool example of showing you our strike zone, where the balls are and stuff like that. So let's see what we have next. Also, we're going to be able to show how high they jump. So this is another cool aspect that we're going to show during the broadcast. So a lot of different things there. So let's see what else we have. Oh, this is a really cool one. Talent's going to really love this one. So you can see how far separate they are. And you can see as a batter, you know, what area, where's the gaps. And as you can see, they hit it right through the gap. So there's going to be a lot of examples of this to show the fans and kind of talk from a coach standpoint of, you know, what they're looking at from a player standpoint. Is there gaps that they're trying to hit through and things like that. So let's see. Which one is this? So this is another cool one that we're going to show from low third and low first home. So you can see the ranking as they go up to the bat. We're also going to have stats of what they're doing. So there's 4 or 5 different things that we're going to show there during the broadcast also. And then social media with Ross Inception. So as a fan and as you're engaging during the broadcast, if you're tweeting about Athletes Unlimited and about the broadcast, we actually can migrate that into the live broadcast with Inception by Ross. So if anybody like Kevin Durant or anybody's talking about Athletes Unlimited and softball, we're able to put that on the national broadcast, which would be really cool.
It's so awesome. So those
are small sneak peeks. There's a lot more out there, but kind of gives you little examples of what we're trying to do.
Kelly, what do you think? I'm curious. What stands out to you? What do you like?
I think this is so cool to be having all of this information available. It's definitely not like anything I've seen before in the past. And I'm really excited to, you know, for the first game to happen to, you know, be able to look at this, like rewatch the game and like, oh, this is what they were showing. Oh, wow. Look how high she got on that. Or like, oh, hey, the Blue called that a ball, but it looks like it's in that little box thing, you know? So I think it'd be really cool, even just like not even for the fans, but even as personally as an athlete to go back and watch games and kind of see what was happening statistically, see what was happening like while you were on the field, like how far did that ball go, you know, how high did she jump, how fast was that pitch, you know, just being able to see all that information is very cool and also very helpful as an athlete moving forward.
You know, it's interesting when Jess Mendoza mentioned it earlier, but she said it, and it's so true. I remember when we first started talking about Athletes Unlimited, she really was talking about all of that. She was really excited for the way fans are engaging, but also the benefits that it could have for athletes to kind of really improve performance and give them a lot of power. Honestly, some of this stuff, you know, has existed in baseball or in men's sports, but hasn't typically been applied to professional softball. So I think it's really cool to get your perspective, Kelly, ultimately, you know, hearing how the athletes are going to respond. Savannah, I want to turn it over to you just for a second. So we're getting a chance. Obviously, we have a bunch of fans here. We're so excited to kind of welcome them to the Athletes Unlimited family. And I just love for them to get to know who you are and maybe some of the things that you have in store for our fans and how they can get in touch with you and what they should be doing. Keep an eye out for.
Definitely. So I'm joining Athletes Unlimited as the manager of fan engagement. So all of you who are watching, like, I want to know you. I'm glad to finally be able to kind of meet you guys virtually. But my big thing is I want to know what enhances your sporting experience. Obviously, we can't be together in a stadium, and I know that really connects all of us. But how can we still do that and still feel like we're all a part of the game and cheering and watching on together, whether that's through social media, whether that's through interviews, whether that's through video chats. So some of the things that we are going to do this season is one of my favorite things at a ball game is catching foul balls. So you want to make sure right now that you're following at AU Pro Sports on Twitter, because before our games, you can get assigned a section that you're sitting in. And by chance, a foul ball might land in your section and you can be sent that game ball. So it's going to be stuff like that I'm going to try and do this season to make you guys feel like you are just a part of Athletes Unlimited as much of our athletes and our staff and those of us who are there at the game. So make sure you're following us. You can follow me too. I'm tweeting about Athletes Unlimited all the time. I'm at Savanna E. Collins on Twitter. But I want to hear from you guys. Reach out to me. Shoot me a DM. I will respond. And I'd love to hear what you guys want to see this season. So all the time, if you send us a message, I'm going to see it. And it'll probably be me replying to you.
So Kelly, I mean, just to give everyone a little taste of kind of, I think, what we want to bring them. I mean, maybe just tell us what the last couple of days have been like. I mean, this is obviously an experience like no other. You've kind of entered the shield. We don't call it a bubble here, but the shield. So tell us where you've been and where you've come from over the last couple of weeks, and then what it's been like with your testing and all of that, what that was like for you, et cetera.
Yeah, so I came into market on that was Sunday. I drove in from Georgia. And yeah, since we've been here, everything's been really organized, been really great. There's a lot of stuff going on. We have a lot of stuff planned going on and trying to get ready for the season, obviously. So our second day here, we had our COVID testing. Today I had physical. Tomorrow I'm getting COVID test. We're going to do some really cool shoots and stuff for social media content, which all of you guys will get to see. And those are always really fun days as well. But yeah, everything's been really great. We've been taken care of. I'm in my hotel room. And when we got here, we had little boxes that kind of just like prep stuff for food, disinfectant stuff, masks, all the stuff, to keep us safe. Because that's one of the biggest things that they've been on top of this whole time is COVID protection, COVID prevention, and how can they keep the athletes the safest while we have the chance to play. And that's all of us. That's all that us athletes want to do. We just want to have a chance to play. So everything we've been doing has been play. And I'm really excited for getting to, we start team practice or group practices at the end of the week. And then we have our first draft next week for our scrimmage games, which is just softball. I'm just so excited.
And Kelly, you've obviously played with a lot of the players in the league. Is there anybody you haven't had a chance to play with or against that you're excited to get to see out there or be a teammate with?
Yeah, I mean, I have played with a lot of the girls, whether it was in college, against them in college, in international ball with Team USA, and in the EPF. I got to work with Erica today, and Erica is a catcher I've never worked with before. I think she's the only catcher here that I haven't worked with, so that was really fun getting to know her and doing a bullpen with her. And then, I mean, there are just so many good players here. It's ridiculous. I'm going to let you guys in. If I end up being able to draft a team, I'm going to be drafting hitters, all the hitters I don't want to throw to.
It's so smart.
And then I'm going to find a position them on the field. So that's my strategy. There's just so many amazing hitters and players that it's going to be a really, really tough competition.
That's funny because I have to say I've heard some pitchers say that the first person they're going to want to draft is a catcher. So I like it. I like you have a different strategy. Okay, I'm not going to give it away. We won't tell them any of them. I'm curious, Steven, you've obviously you've done a lot across a lot of sports. I mean, this is a lot of innovation. You guys have layered on a lot more stuff. Is there one of these things that you're particularly excited about seeing and you think fans will really respond to?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I mean, we're going to be putting a lot into a short window here. There's a lot of different things that our producer is going to have to funnel through. And I think I guess number one is probably the player mics and the umpire mics. I think, having that, if you guys watch XFL and you kind of saw that more of that audio experience, I think, the fans are going to get a lot more insight of what's going on and what they're talking about with the POV cameras that are in the dugouts too. I think it's just going to have that better interaction with the fans from home. And they'll be able to kind of feel like they're there. And I think what we're doing, and I'm loving what we're doing with Piero. It's the first time it's ever been done on softball. So it's cool that Athletes Unlimited is going to be the first, organization, league that, showing Piero off and showing all the skill sets and everything that he can do as a softball player. I think those are probably the two of my top right there. So
I'm gonna put you on the spot, Steven. The Piero system. Why is it called a Piero system? Okay, what does that mean?
That's actually a really good question, John. I do not know that answer.
All right, you're going to get the answer for that, and then you're going to come back.
Hopefully no one is watching this right now.
I know. You're going to give Savannah that answer, and then only people from this session will get that answer afterwards. So Savannah, fans are going to be able to get a foul ball. I know you've already started to post some content, but from your perspective, what do you think, what are you excited about for this season going forward? What's your perspective on kind of how fans should best engage?
Absolutely. We got a great question that kind of relates to this in the chat of, fans are used to rooting for a team, a jersey, for a city. How does that translate for Athletes Unlimited? And I think a big thing is this softball community, we're all a little bit crazy about our sport, right? And we know our players. We know where they're from. Half the time we know who their family is on Twitter too, because their moms and dads are tweeting about the game. So I think the great thing about what our fan experience is going to be with the content that's coming out from our social team is that you're going to get to know these players better. That's my favorite thing about professional softball. These players make themselves accessible. They'll reply to you if you ask them a question. They're on Instagram Live, on Zoom calls. So we just want you guys to feel like that you're getting to know them, because I think that's what we're all missing right now, especially when, we've been inside, we've been at home for months, is that connection, especially with these athletes that we love to watch. So my biggest priority and the thing that I'm most excited about is being able to create those connections between fans and the players.
It's awesome. And we have a great original content team. I'm curious, Savannah, if people want to tune in now, I'm curious if there are any of the series that have been put together that you particularly like, or Kelly, if you've watched, I know you've been featured in some of them already. So what's it been like to sit down, Kelly, for some of those interviews?
It was really interesting, especially when this was like way back, and they were just kind of rolling out with the ideas of what we're going to do, and to see from the idea stage, all the way to the completion of it was really cool. Especially one of the favorite things that I did was it was like the every moment counts. And how we went in and we had a conversation. We talked about, hey, what was like the moment that you remember the most? And for me, it was 2017 Super Regionals playing against Alabama to go to the Women's College World Series for the first time. And so to see them from that conversation to go and then transform that into this animation, that really did capture the moments there. It was so cool to see, and it was one of my favorite pieces that I've done so far for the media, and a lot of other players have done it. It's a really cool thing to see, just hear the stories but also see them in this cool animated way.
Somebody asked that question. Savannah mentioned it. She said, and I want to touch on it from my perspective and give everyone a little bit of context. This concept of going from rooting for a team or a city to a player. One of the things that we've noticed in sports, right, and it's happening across the NBA, especially with free agency or the NFL or other big leagues, is that over time, there are more and more fans that are following individual players and really do follow them and even switch their allegiances to a team. And I think in particular in women's sports, we heard this a lot with the volleyball players. Kelly herself has mentioned she's played, I think, now in four professional teams. We do see a lot of these players kind of coming in and out of teams. And so from a fan's perspective, I think a lot of fans get behind you. A lot of fans, Kelly, like you said, will follow you from your time at Florida and as a Gator and have stayed with you throughout your career. I'm sure you've seen that. I don't know. When I see you post on social, a lot of those fans are so proud of you as a Gator and still stick with you. And they love you from that time, and they'll follow you wherever you go, right? And that's a really cool thing. But then as an athlete, you, Kelly, have had to kind of move around a lot, right? So I think for us, one of the things we're excited about is giving you guys, 6 weeks, one location, a home here, and making this your own. So that's really been part of the big motivation for us. So we're excited. Kelly, these next few days, as you're warming up, I'm just curious, now you're getting back into practicing, aches and pains, like how does it work? Like, how do you make sure you stay healthy? Like what's important to you?
Well, I'm practicing up to coming into here in Chicago, but coming here, it's just taking it up to that next level. But getting in the work with the catchers, getting in work with the different teammates that you're going to have to work with later on in like team practices and group practices. I think there is a component though that you have to be aware of what your body is doing. We're not used to going, because of the time we're in, we're not necessarily in, game shape, because we haven't been playing games. We've been practicing for a very long time, but we're not necessarily in game shape. So trying to get it back into that kind of mentality of like, okay, I'm going to play this day. I need to make sure that I'm practicing and working on this. I need to make sure I'm getting into the weight room. I need to make sure I'm working out. I need to make sure I have a day for recovery, make sure I'm going to go see a trainer. And so all these little different things that we're going to have to start planning out and, really taking one of the major things in professional sports is taking ownership for your own time and taking ownership, knowing what's going on. I think that's one of the main things you learn, especially as that first 2 years out of college, is really kind of understanding what yourself and what you need. So that's kind of what everyone's doing right now.
Yeah, and Kelly, I mean, again, for people who are going to join the Unlimited Club, which is the fan club, which you can go onto the website. It's actually not opened up yet, but people will be able, obviously you'll be able to watch the games and you'll be able to engage with Savannah, whether or not you're a member of the Unlimited Club. But if you are a member of the Unlimited Club, we're also going to be hosting additional virtual autograph sessions after games. Savannah will be a big part of that. And we're going to allow fans of the Unlimited Club to get together with players like Kelly and others throughout the week to kind of have these one-on-one sessions and kind of get a virtual autograph, which we'll then send you. So that's obviously going to be super exciting. But Kelly, I know another important part of your involvement here, we've talked about the Athlete Causes program, but I'd love maybe for you to tell everyone a little bit about that and kind of what's been important to you or how you felt about that part of the Athlete Unlimited experience.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the Athletes Causes. The cause that I chose is very close to my heart is the American Humane Society, and it's where I adopted my two cats, Anastasia and Ari, so Annie and Ari. And I just think that in general, there are so many pets out there that need homes, and I really want to encourage people to go out there, and if you want a new pet, go out and adopt. Don't necessarily go to a pet store, because there's so many animals in those shelters that need homes, and they are always looking for funding. They're always looking for volunteers. And so it's just something very personal to me. I love animals, all types of animals, big animals, small animals, cats, dogs. So it's just, I'm really happy to be able to, spread awareness of this and be able to give back to the organization that brought my two babies into my life.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We have a question from Phil Esposito here. He asked Kelly a little bit about whether technology and some of this will give you a scouting report on hitters. How do you usually scout for hitters, and do you think this technology might help?
Personally, this being who I am, I'm not a huge scouter. I know other people that are. Danielle O'Toole, she has notes on you from 3 years ago. So Thule is very on top of scouting and that kind of thing. Me personally, I know, like you said, I know a lot of these players. I pitched prior knowledge. But I do think for a lot of people, especially catchers who are going to be calling the game, I mean, they call it with the pitcher, but catchers do a lot of the thing when it comes to calling. I think it's going to be very helpful. And also going back, I think, and looking at like, hey, I wasn't exactly sure where I missed that pitch. And then you can go back and see, oh, it was right there. And you see how she came in and she turned on it and hit it all the way out there, sort of thing. So I think going back and looking at it from that perspective will be more helpful for me, and going back and say, hey, and it worked well here, from there, more than actually for me going in scouting in advance, if that makes sense. So it's just kind of my perspective.
That does.
And that's how I.
By the way, By the way, Tuli's in the chat and she liked your shout out.
I know, I saw that. It's very true though.
So,
Tuli has a notebook.
She has a notebook. All right. Well, Tuli, you're gonna have to. I don't know. I assume that notebook's under lock and key. I'm not going to share it. That's awesome. I think that's terrific. I guess, Savannah, we're kind of heading back over now. We're going to kind of wrap up this session. I want to thank, obviously, Kelly and Savannah and of course, Stephen. Thanks for all the hard work on this. We're super excited. It's just the beginning, so we're excited for all that lies ahead. But don't forget to follow us. I'm giving Savannah's message on AU Pro Sports on Twitter. Obviously also across the other social platforms on Instagram and on Facebook, and then TikTok too. If you're a fan of TikTok, the account has been blowing up. You're not.
I'm too
the account has been blowing up. So I encourage you to check it out. Some of our videos on AU Pro Sports have gone viral already. So thank you again, everybody. And terrific to be here. And we'll all head back out now to, I guess, the main stage. We're going to be wrapping up shortly, but I guess you can go to the networking platform for now, and then we'll call you back to the main stage for the conclusion. Thanks again.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.